But as I was saying before we recorded, I was looking through some of your content, and inevitably on the internet, you're going to get criticized.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the beast. And yet there is a sentiment, I think, and to what degree or what percentage, I don't know. I don't care. But there is skepticism, there's cynicism, there's criticism. Given what you just explained and how obvious it seems, what is it that people don't understand about it? What is the common pushback you get or objections you get? And just how would you speak to the skeptic? If I'm like, I don't know, man, like really Facebook ads, like, is that really leading to church fruit? How would you convert me, not in a CTA, Facebook, Meta, Insta ad way, but as a skeptic of your approach here?
Man, I get that question a lot. And if you ever want a good laugh, if you ever see an ad from me or Church Candy on Instagram or Facebook, go read the comments, because they're like, they're either like, oh my gosh, they're charging money for this? Like, it should be work for the Lord. And it's like, man, I got 30 people that we're employing. Let me call up Gabe, one of my account managers, and be like, hey man, I'm going to take your salary away. This is just a work unto the Lord, man, because John on Facebook said so. Right. So that's one of the things. But a big criticism that I get is, why should churches need marketing? Just preach the gospel. Is the gospel not enough?
Right.
And I hear where they're coming from. The thing is, all that like we do and that I teach churches to do, it's not replacing preaching the gospel, right? People will say like, oh, like just preach the gospel and people will come. I hear that. All we're doing is letting people know, hey, we're preaching the gospel here.
Yeah.
Hey, there's good news. There's a God that created you and loves you, and we want to tell you about it. We're just helping churches like tell more people about that. That's all we're doing. And people feel icky when they hear the term marketing in churches, right? But it's no different than 20 years ago. It was really common for churches to do boots on the ground door knocking campaigns, right? You and I might not remember that as much, but our parents' generation definitely do, where that was super common. And I guarantee you that people were a lot less critical of, why would we go knock on these doors? Like, isn't preaching the gospel enough? It's like, no, we're sharing the good news. We're letting people know that there's a God that created them and loved them, right? Our LDS cousins, I don't even want to call them brothers, but like Mormons,
step cousins.
Their beliefs are crazy, right? But one thing they were really good at is proselytization and evangelism. They're sending people boots on the ground, knocking on doors. Dude, I started getting ads for from Mormons. Those guys are Muslims, are like distant cousins, broke off from Abraham, like anyways. Yeah. But one thing that Mormons do really, really well is evangelism and marketing. From boots on the ground to now, I started getting ads from Mormons, and it takes you a while to realize that it's actually like LDS.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're like, hey, are you looking for a community of people that want to grow in their relationship with? And it's like, you would think it's just like a regular non-denom church out there until you like click on it, engage with it, and it's like, oh, these guys are Mormons. And like, because it's just very invitational, right? They're just trying to reach people. Right. And so that's the one thing that we can take from the Mormons is, hey, let's be better about inviting people into our spaces. And whether it's boots on the, I'm not like like some people will think I'm anti-mailer or anti-boots on the ground. It's like, no, do whatever you can to make the gospel known, let people know, like, hey, there's a God that loves you. Hey, we meet here. This is our church. We would love for you to come and join. All of that is great. But I'm also all about efficiency and what's going to get you the most bang for your buck and the most bang for your effort. Right. And so, those are a lot of the criticisms I get is like, is the gospel not enough? And then another thing that I've gotten is, are Facebook and Instagram ads for churches just transfer growth? Are you just stealing people from other churches?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
And here's the truth is transfer growth happens whether you use Facebook or Instagram ads or not. People are going to leave your church to go somewhere else. People are going to leave another church to go to your church. That has happened way before Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, that being said, from the pastors that I've talked to and from the churches that are using Facebook and Instagram ads and seeing fruit from it, they are not seeing transfer growth. What they are seeing now, here's another thing, is they're not necessarily reaching the lost of what you would think of as like an atheist or satanic person that like,
Sure.
but what they are reaching is that person that was plugged into a church and then COVID happened and they had to move and they just like walked away from God. And
Right.
they just haven't found a new church since they moved into a new area, or they stopped going during COVID. If you want to consider, I went to a church 5 years ago, then COVID happened, and I just haven't really gotten back into it. If you want to consider that transfer growth, okay, maybe. Right? But it's a lot of the times people that had that foundation, they were plugged into a local church, they had a relationship with the Lord, and whatever reason they walked away. Right? So you've got the prodigal sons in that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have the seekers, right? There was a study that the New York Times did showing that for the first time in American history, young men under the age of 30 are more likely to go to church than young women under the age of 30. That has never happened, right? Wall Street Journal reported that Bible sales are at an all-time high. We even saw like culturally a shift in Gen Z voted more conservatively in this last election. Now, I'm not necessarily saying, oh, if you vote Republican, then you vote for Jesus. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that points to a shift in culture. And with that comes a lot of young people wanting to go back to more traditional values. And that includes getting plugged into a local church, believing in God, reading their Bible. And so there are things that point to this in society, the stats show. And that's a lot of what we're seeing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that are younger, they're hungry for the Lord. Maybe they just graduated for college, moved to a new city, and they're not plugged into a local church yet, right? And then another group of people that we're seeing are broken. I mentioned the testimony of Tyler, who got connected to a church in Waco. Man, this guy, he in Waco, Texas, bro, in Texas, everyone's a Christian. We got our Bibles and our 12 gauges. Like everyone's a believer, right?
Right.
But that doesn't, just because you call yourself a Christian doesn't mean you have a relationship with the Lord. Obviously, he wasn't living that out. And with that, he was able to get connected to a church and have his life turned around. So we're seeing a lot of like single moms who don't have a place to turn. We're seeing a lot of people that are grieving, that lost a loved one or someone close to them recently, and they're searching for answers, and the local churches that we're connecting them to are able to be that answer and connect them to the one that made them, which really God is the answer. The local church isn't the answer. That's just the vessel getting them connected to the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for watching Provoke and Inspire. If you enjoyed this content, could you do me a favor and hit that like button? Leave us a comment, because this ultimately is a conversation. Hit that bell thing, I think, right? And YouTube seems to be recommending another video for you to watch. Check it out. Stay involved. Also, provokeandinspirepodcast.com for everything else. That's it. Peace.